Chapter 1, A Humble Beginning. In a small village nestled among rolling hills, a humble family lived in a modest cottage. In this family, a boy named Oliver was born. From a young age, Oliver knew the meaning of simplicity and struggle. His parents, hard-working but impoverished, could barely make ends meet. Oliver's childhood was filled with moments of joy, despite the lack of material possessions. He found solace in the beauty of nature, spending his days exploring the fields and forests that surrounded their village. His heart was filled with a genuine kindness and empathy for others. As Oliver grew older, the limitations of his family's poverty became more apparent. Education was a luxury they could not afford, and Oliver's dreams of learning and expanding his horizons were thwarted. Nevertheless, he possessed a natural curiosity that fueled his desire to understand the world around him. It was during this time that Oliver encountered a group of individuals who would shape his path in unforeseen ways. These so-called friends saw his simplicity as an opportunity, exploiting his naivete to further their own agendas. They recognized Oliver's hidden talent, his ability to think outside the box and devise cunning plans. Oliver, eager to belong and desperate for validation, eagerly lent his ideas to his newfound companions. Together, they concocted schemes that took advantage of the trust and innocence of others. Through trickery, force, and treachery, they manipulated their way to success, leaving a trail of victims in their wake. Unaware of the consequences of his actions, Oliver reveled in the temporary thrill of their triumphs. He felt a sense of belonging and purpose, blinded by the twisted camaraderie of his companions. Little did he know that their exploits would ultimately lead him down a treacherous path. As time passed, Oliver's role in their deceptions grew more significant. His ideas became the cornerstone of their nefarious plans. He became entangled in a web of deceit, a world where right and wrong blurred, and the pursuit of personal gain overshadowed moral values. Despite the darkness that surrounded him, Oliver's heart still bore a flicker of goodness. Deep down, he knew there was a better way to live. He yearned for a life where his actions would uplift and inspire rather than harm and manipulate. In the depths of his soul, a seed of change was planted. Oliver began to question his allegiance to these exploitative friends and the consequences of their actions. He realized that he had unwittingly become a pawn in their game, and a growing sense of unease gnawed at his conscience. Chapter 2, The Web of Deceit. As days turned into weeks and weeks into months, Oliver's involvement with his exploitative friends deepened. He became an integral part of their deceptive endeavors, unknowingly spinning a web of deceit that ensnared innocent individuals within their village. Oliver's clever mind continued to churn out ideas, each more cunning than the last. His friends reveled in the success they achieved by employing his strategies. Together, they manipulated the trust of others, weaving an intricate tapestry of trickery, force, and treachery. One such scheme involved the local market. Oliver's friends noticed the vulnerability of the hard-working merchants and artisans who struggled to make a living. They devised a plan to undercut their competition, using Oliver's sharp mind to exploit the weaknesses they had discovered. Oliver, oblivious to the impact of his actions, enthusiastically contributed to their plan. He devised a series of intricate schemes, allowing his friends to gain an unfair advantage over their competitors. Through deception and manipulation, they drove hard-working villagers out of business, leaving them penniless and desperate. As the scheme unfolded, Oliver witnessed the devastating consequences of his actions. He saw families, who had relied on their small businesses for generations, forced to abandon their dreams and succumb to poverty. The guilt within Oliver's heart grew, and he started questioning the morality of his choices. Deep down, he knew he had been a pawn in their game, a mere tool to further their own ambitions. The once thrilling rush of success now left a bitter taste in his mouth. Oliver began to question the loyalty of his friends and the true nature of the path he had chosen. Despite the turmoil brewing within him, Oliver found himself trapped in a cycle of manipulation. His friends continued to exploit his simplicity, pressuring him to contribute more and more to their schemes. Fearful of losing their acceptance and the sense of belonging he had gained, Oliver reluctantly complied. However, as the web of deceit grew ever more intricate, cracks began to appear in the once solid foundation of their alliance. Oliver's friends, driven by their own ambitions and greed, started to turn against each other. The power they had once wielded together now became a weapon to use against their former confidants. Oliver, witnessing the unraveling of their friendship, realized that he too had become disposable in their eyes. His simplicity, once seen as an asset, was now viewed as a liability. The veil of camaraderie was lifted, and he saw the true nature of his companions. In the depths of his despair, Oliver found solace in the memories of his childhood, in the simplicity and kindness that had once defined him. He longed for a chance to break free from the chains of deceit and rediscover the person he truly was. Chapter 3: Climbing the Ladder. As the cracks in his friendship with the manipulative group grew wider, Oliver found himself at a critical juncture in his life. The realization of the moral repercussions of his actions weighed heavily on his conscience. He knew he had to make a choice: continue down the path of deceit or find the strength to forge a different destiny. With determination in his heart, Oliver decided to distance himself from his exploitative companions. He knew that their ways would only lead to destruction and misery. It was time to pave his own path, one that would align with his newfound yearning for righteousness. Oliver turned his focus toward self-improvement. Despite the lack of formal education, his natural curiosity and intellect were formidable. He became an avid reader, absorbing knowledge from books borrowed from the village library. Through self-study, he acquired a vast range of skills, from strategy and diplomacy to critical thinking and empathy. As he delved deeper into his studies, Oliver also sought guidance from the wise elders of the village. Their experiences and wisdom became his guiding light, shaping his moral compass and reinforcing his determination to make amends for his past actions. Oliver's newfound knowledge and values began to manifest in his interactions with others. He became known for his fairness, compassion, and willingness to lend a helping hand. Villagers started recognizing the transformation within him, and slowly, their trust in him grew. With the support of his community, Oliver seized opportunities that arose within the village. He initiated projects that aimed to uplift the less fortunate, providing access to education, healthcare, and basic necessities. He used his cunning mind not to manipulate, but to find innovative solutions to societal challenges. As time passed, Oliver's genuine efforts to make a positive impact gained him respect and admiration. The villagers saw him as a beacon of hope, someone who had risen above his past mistakes and was committed to improving the lives of others. Oliver's rise to a higher position within the village became inevitable. His natural leadership qualities and the trust he had garnered allowed him to secure a seat on the village council. There, he used his newfound power to implement policies that promoted fairness, equality, and justice. Seeing the impact Oliver was making, some of his former friends approached him, seeking redemption for their own misdeeds. Over time, Oliver learned to forgive, but he never forgot the pain they had caused. He understood that true change must come from within, and he offered them opportunities to mend their ways and contribute positively to the community. As Oliver climbed higher on the ladder of influence, he remained steadfast in his commitment to never abuse his power. He was determined to use his position to bring about lasting change and ensure that no one else would fall prey to the kind of manipulation and exploitation he had endured. Chapter 4: The Puppeteer. Oliver, now an influential figure within the village, embraced his role as a catalyst for positive change. He understood the importance of using his power wisely and vowed never to repeat the mistakes of his past. However, Oliver also knew that sometimes the pursuit of justice required unconventional methods. With a shrewd mind and a keen sense of observation, Oliver began to analyze the dynamics within the village. He carefully observed the relationships between individuals and the various power structures at play. He realized that he could leverage these dynamics to further his mission of fairness and equality. Oliver saw that there were still remnants of manipulation and exploitation lingering within the village. While his former friends had sought redemption, others had stepped in to fill the void they had left behind. These individuals preyed upon the vulnerabilities of the less fortunate, perpetuating an unjust system. Using his deep understanding of human nature and strategic thinking, Oliver devised a plan to turn the tables on those who continued to exploit the innocent. He recognized that their power stemmed from the control they exerted over key resources and information. Silently, Oliver began to gather a group of trusted individuals, ones who shared his vision for a fair and just society. He sought out those who had been victimized in the past and those who possessed the skills and determination to challenge the existing power structures. Oliver's plan involved strategically redistributing resources and knowledge, ensuring that they reached those who needed them most. He used his influence to create opportunities for education, economic empowerment, and fair employment. Through these actions, he aimed to break the cycle of exploitation and uplift the marginalized. As Oliver's network of allies grew, so did the impact of his actions. His efforts to level the playing field began to bear fruit, inspiring hope among the villagers. They saw him as their champion, a beacon of light in a world that had long been tainted by deceit and treachery. However, Oliver's plan was not without its challenges. The remnants of the exploitative group he once belonged to saw his rise as a threat to their own interests. They recognized his cunning and strategic prowess, and they feared that he would expose their dark secrets. Oliver, aware of their intentions, decided to confront his former friends head-on. He skillfully maneuvered them into a position where their loyalty to each other was tested. Through subtle manipulation and carefully crafted scenarios, he ensured that they turned against each other, undermining their own power base. As tensions rose and alliances shattered, Oliver watched from the shadows, manipulating the strings of the puppet show he had orchestrated. His former friends became pawns in their own demise, their positions dependent on their loyalty to him. The village soon realized the extent of the deception that had permeated their lives for so long. Oliver, having avenged the injuries he and others had suffered, stood as the ultimate puppeteer, the master of his own destiny and the destiny of those who had once exploited him. Chapter 5, Unleashing the Storm. As the dust settled from Oliver's masterful manipulation, a newfound sense of empowerment permeated the village. The once dominant group of exploiters had been dismantled, their power fractured and their grip on the community weakened. Oliver stood as the catalyst for this transformation, the orchestrator of their downfall. The village, no longer shackled by the chains of manipulation, breathed a collective sigh of relief. However, as Oliver looked upon the aftermath of his actions, he couldn't help but feel a mix of emotions. The taste of revenge was bittersweet, and he knew that true justice would require more than simply tearing down his former oppressors. With a heavy heart, Oliver realized that the scars left by their deceitful reign were deep. Many lives had been shattered, trust eroded, and wounds inflicted. He vowed to use his influence not only to exact revenge but also to heal the wounds and rebuild what had been lost. Oliver recognized that vengeance alone would not bring about lasting change. He sought to create a community founded on principles of empathy, fairness, and cooperation. With the help of his trusted allies, he set out on a mission to mend the broken bonds of the village. Together, they devised programs and initiatives aimed at reconciliation and rehabilitation. They organized support networks for the victims of exploitation, offering counseling and resources to rebuild their lives. Oliver personally reached out to each individual affected, extending his hand in friendship and understanding. In his quest for justice, Oliver also turned his attention to the former exploiters. Rather than seeking retribution, he offered them a chance at redemption. Recognizing that everyone had the capacity for change, he invited them to participate in community service projects, encouraging them to make amends for the harm they had caused. The village watched in awe as Oliver, the once victim turned leader, showed compassion even to those who had wronged him. Through his actions, he demonstrated that forgiveness and growth were possible, even in the face of deep-seated pain. As time passed, the village began to heal. The scars of the past gradually faded, replaced by a newfound unity and trust. Oliver's vision of a just society took shape as the villagers embraced the principles of fairness and collaboration. The collective effort of rebuilding became a symbol of resilience and hope. Oliver, humbled by the transformation he had helped bring about, realized that true power lies not in manipulation or revenge but in the ability to inspire and uplift others. He committed himself to using his influence to foster an environment where everyone could thrive, regardless of their background or past mistakes. Chapter 6: A House Divided. As the village continued its journey towards healing and unity, Oliver's influence and leadership remained unchallenged. The principles of justice, fairness, and compassion guided his every decision, and the villagers respected him as a beacon of hope. However, despite the progress made, a sense of unease began to permeate the air. Beneath the surface, tension simmered among the villagers. Old wounds and grievances resurfaced, threatening to undo the harmony that had been painstakingly established. Oliver, ever vigilant, sensed the growing division and knew that unity was essential for the village's continued prosperity. He recognized that old habits die hard and that deep-rooted animosities could easily unravel the progress they had achieved. To address the growing discontent, Oliver devised a plan to bring the community together. He organized a series of inclusive events, encouraging villagers from all walks of life to participate. Festivals, sports competitions, and cultural exchanges became the platforms through which people could connect, understand each other, and bridge the gaps that divided them. Through these events, the villagers discovered shared interests, talents, and aspirations. They realized that despite their differences, they were bound by a common goal, the desire to build a stronger, more harmonious community. Oliver, with his natural charisma and ability to inspire, took on the role of a mediator. He encouraged open dialogue and facilitated conversations among those who held differing viewpoints. He emphasized the importance of listening, empathy, and understanding, urging the villagers to find common ground and move forward together. However, despite Oliver's best efforts, some individuals clung to their past resentments and refused to let go of the grievances they held. They viewed the village's transformation as an opportunity to settle personal scores rather than working towards collective progress. As tensions escalated, Oliver realized that a house divided could not stand. He recognized that there were those who sought to exploit the growing rift for their own gain. They saw the fractures within the village as an opportunity to regain the power they had lost and sow further discord. Undeterred, Oliver doubled his efforts. He sought to neutralize the divisive elements within the community by actively engaging with them and addressing their concerns. He encouraged open dialogue, even with those who harbored resentment towards him personally, understanding that true unity required embracing different perspectives. Through perseverance and unwavering commitment, Oliver slowly managed to turn the tide. The power of his empathy and persuasive reasoning touched the hearts of many, even those who had held deep-seated grudges. They began to recognize the futility of their animosity and the potential for growth and progress through collaboration. As the villagers started to let go of their differences and work towards a shared vision, the house that had once been divided began to mend. The unity they had fought so hard to achieve became stronger than ever before. Chapter 7: The Final Showdown. As the village continued to heal and unite, a lingering tension remained beneath the surface. Oliver's efforts to bridge divides and foster harmony had been successful to a great extent, but he knew that true transformation required addressing the root causes of conflict. Deep within the village, a small faction of individuals, resentful of Oliver's rise to power, plotted in the shadows. They saw his leadership as a threat to their own interests and sought to undermine his authority. Unbeknownst to Oliver, they conspired to sow seeds of doubt, using deception and manipulation as their weapons. Oliver, ever vigilant, sensed the growing dissent and the veiled threats. He knew that the time had come to confront those who sought to undo the progress the village had made. He called upon his most trusted allies, individuals who shared his vision and were unwavering in their commitment to justice. Together, they devised a strategy to expose the hidden agenda of the dissenters. Oliver understood that the key to dismantling their power lay in turning their own tactics against them. He encouraged his allies to gather information, uncovering the truth behind their plots and revealing the extent of their deceit. As whispers of the conspiracy spread throughout the village, tensions mounted. The air became thick with anticipation, and the villagers found themselves torn between loyalty to Oliver and uncertainty fueled by the dissenters' manipulative whispers. With the stage set for the final showdown, Oliver seized the opportunity to address the village. Standing before them, he spoke with conviction, exposing the deceit that had plagued their community for far too long. He recounted the journey they had undertaken, the sacrifices made, and the progress achieved. Oliver's words struck a chord with the villagers. They saw the stark contrast between the dark manipulations of the dissenters and the unwavering commitment to justice that Oliver embodied. The seeds of doubt planted by the conspirators began to wither in the face of the truth. In a bold move, Oliver offered the dissenters a chance at redemption. He urged them to let go of their grievances and join the village in moving forward. Some chose to embrace this opportunity, recognizing the futility of their actions, while others clung stubbornly to their bitterness, unable to see beyond their own narrow interests. As the dissenters divided themselves, tensions escalated within their ranks. The power they once held became fractured as loyalty waned and distrust grew. The final showdown became an internal battle for control among themselves, a bitter struggle fueled by their own treachery. In the end, the dissenters imploded, their own ambitions and deceit leading to their downfall. Their manipulation and treachery had been exposed, and they were left isolated, stripped of any remaining influence. With their defeat, the village emerged stronger than ever. The bonds forged through unity and shared purpose proved unbreakable. Oliver, having overcome the final hurdle, saw the village transformed into a true community where trust, justice, and compassion prevailed. Chapter 8, Lessons Learned. After the final showdown and the triumph of justice, a sense of peace settled over the village. The wounds inflicted by years of deceit and manipulation had been healed, replaced by a newfound harmony and unity. However, for Oliver, the journey was far from over. Reflecting upon the events that had unfolded, Oliver felt a mix of emotions within his heart. He had risen from a humble beginning, endured the consequences of his actions, and fought tirelessly for redemption and justice. But now, as he looked back on the path he had traveled, he realized that true healing required more than just dismantling the web of deceit. Oliver understood that his own journey towards redemption was not complete. While he had worked tirelessly to mend the village and uplift its inhabitants, he also needed to confront the pain he had caused directly. He sought out those he had wronged, offering apologies and extending a genuine desire to make amends. Some welcomed Oliver's overtures with forgiveness and grace, recognizing the transformative power of redemption. Others, still nursing wounds from the past, struggled to let go of their anger and pain. Oliver respected their journey and understood that healing took time. In addition to seeking reconciliation, Oliver focused on rebuilding the shattered lives of those affected by the manipulation and exploitation. He initiated programs to provide opportunities for education, skills training, and economic empowerment. He worked tirelessly to ensure that no one would fall victim to the same cycle of deceit and treachery again. As the village flourished under Oliver's leadership, he continued to surround himself with trusted individuals who shared his vision. He fostered a spirit of collaboration, encouraging the villagers to actively participate in decision-making processes and take ownership of their collective future. Oliver knew that the scars left by the past would always be a reminder of the consequences of his actions. But he also recognized the potential for growth and transformation that came from acknowledging and learning from those mistakes. The village became a living testament to the power of redemption and the capacity for positive change. As time passed, Oliver's dedication and commitment to the village's well-being never wavered. he embraced the responsibility that came with his position, using his influence to uplift the marginalized, promote equality, and ensure that every voice was heard.